Arise. To arise is to happen.
Difficulties arose with his computer because it was old.
Benefactor. A benefactor is a person who gives money to help someone.
The student's benefactor gave him money to spend on his studies.
Blacksmith. A blacksmith is a person who makes things out of metal.
The blacksmith pounded the piece of metal until it was flat.
Charitable. When someone is charitable, they help people who are in need.
My sister was charitable enough to help me buy my first house.
Chimney. A chimney is a tall pipe used to carry smoke out of a building.
The cat was on the roof sitting next to the chimney.
Compensate. To compensate is to pay someone for the time they spent doing something.
Her boss compensated her for the extra work she did last week.
Encounter. If you encounter something, you meet or come close to it.
I encountered a sea turtle while I was swimming.
Exceed. To exceed is to be more than something.
Since I exceeded my limit, I decided to get rid of my credit cards.
Forge. To forge is to make or produce, especially with difficulty.
Stacy and Heather forged their friendship when they were teenagers.
Humble. People who are humble do not believe that they are better than other people.
Even though Bob is the smartest boy in his class, he is humble.
Iron. Iron is a strong metal that is used to make many objects.
The horse had shoes made of iron.
Ladder. A ladder is an object that is used to climb up and down things.
He used a ladder to climb to the top of his treehouse.
Modest. If people are modest, they do not think that they are too important.
Derek is very modest for someone who is so rich.
Occupy. To occupy a place is to live, work, or be there.
Kevin and Alice occupied the chairs and had a long discussion.
Penny. A penny is a coin worth 1 cent.
U.S. President Abraham Lincoln is on the penny.
Preach. To preach is to talk about and promote a religious idea.
Aaron often preached about living an honest life.
Prosper. To prosper is to be successful or make a lot of money.
Frank's new business finally prospered after many years of hard work.
Province. A province is a small area that is controlled by a country.
Canada is divided into several different provinces.
Satisfaction. Satisfaction is a feeling you get when you do or receive something good.
Brad was filled with satisfaction when he saw what was for dinner.
Sustain. To sustain something is to keep it going.
Wind power is a clean way to sustain a city with energy.
Acquire. To acquire something is to gain possession of it.
Tina acquired a strange package yesterday.
Awkward. If something is awkward, it is embarrassing and uncomfortable.
After dropping his coffee cup, Robbie felt awkward.
Caretaker. A caretaker is a person who takes care of very young, old, or sick people.
My grandmother's caretaker helps her get around the house.
Deceive. To deceive someone is to make them believe something that is not true.
He tried to deceive his friends as they were playing a game.
Discourage. To discourage someone is to make them feel less excited about something.
Mr. Perry discouraged the students from quitting school.
Fake. If something is fake, it is made to look real in order to trick people.
The model was wearing fake eyelashes.
Hatred. Hatred is a strong feeling of not liking someone or something.
I have a hatred for the taste of medicine.
Hut. A hut is a house made of wood, grass, or mud that has only 1 or 2 rooms.
We all went into the hut to sleep.
Inferior. If something is inferior, it is not as good as something else.
Cars built 100 years ago are inferior to ones built today.
Lodge. A lodge is a house in the mountains, used by people who hunt or fish.
During our ski trip, we stayed at a lodge.
Neglect. To neglect someone or something is to not take care of it properly.
William neglected his room, so it is a complete mess.
Newcomer. A newcomer is a person who has recently arrived at a place or a group.
The students happily welcomed the newcomer to the school.
Offense. An offense is behavior that is wrong or breaks a law.
Stealing a car is a very serious offense.
Overlook. To overlook something is to not notice it or to not realize that it is important.
Brenda overlooked the last step and had a bad fall.
Repay. To repay is to pay back or to reward someone or something.
She repaid her friend for all of his hard work with a small gift.
Ridiculous. If something is ridiculous, it is silly or strange.
Steve looked ridiculous with those huge blue sunglasses.
Satisfactory. If something is satisfactory, it is good enough.
Mina often received satisfactory grades since she studied so hard.
Shepherd. A shepherd is a person who protects and cares for sheep.
The shepherd moved the sheep to another field.
Venture. To venture is to go to a place that may be dangerous.
Even though it was dangerous, they ventured up the mountain.
Wheat. Wheat is a plant which makes grain. Wheat grain is used to make bread.
The field of golden wheat was ready to be harvested.
Alley. An alley is a narrow road behind houses or buildings.
The alley behind my house looks dirty.
Bunch. A bunch is a group of the same things.
She was hungry, so she ate the entire bunch of grapes.
Chore. A chore is a job that you have to do but don't like.
It's Nikki's chore to do the dishes every Tuesday and Wednesday night.
Decent. When something is decent, it is okay or good enough.
Eric did a decent job painting the fence.
Disgrace. Disgrace is a feeling of shame.
He felt a sense of disgrace after failing his big exam.
Elbow. The elbow is the middle part of a person's arm that lets you bend it.
She pointed to her elbow to show me where she hurt herself.
Grateful. When you are grateful for something, you are happy that it happened.
The girls were grateful to have a chance to spend time with their grandfather.
Irritate. To irritate means to annoy someone.
She was irritated when her brother told her that he had lost her camera.
Kid. To kid is to make a joke to make someone believe something which is not true.
I'm not really mad. I was kidding when I said I was angry.
Loose. When something is loose, it is not held in place well.
The bolt was loose, so I tightened it with the wrench.
Offend. To offend someone means to make them angry or upset.
They were both offended by what they had said to each other.
Overnight. When something happens overnight, it happens during the night.
The campers stayed in the tent overnight.
Persist. To persist means to keep doing something even when it is hard.
Even though the lesson was difficult, he persisted until he understood.
Pine. A pine is a type of tree that is tall and thin.
There were many beautiful pine trees in the forest.
Scar. A scar is a mark on the skin after a wound heals.
The monster had horrible scars on his cheek and forehead.
Sensation. A sensation is a feeling a person gets from their senses.
Mom got a painful sensation in her head from the loud noise.
Sled. A sled is a small vehicle that you use on snow.
Marvin likes to ride his sled down the hill in winter.
Tease. To tease someone means to laugh at or make fun of them.
Jake teased Charlie because he was the new student.
Valentine. A valentine is someone you love or admire with great affection.
Harry wanted Molly to be his Valentine.
Bloom. When a plant blooms, it makes flowers.
Roses look so pretty when they bloom.
Compact. If something is compact, it is smaller than normal.
A laptop computer is much more compact than a desktop model.
Curl. A curl is a small piece of something with a round shape.
The colorful ribbons were bent into curls.
Decay. To decay is to be destroyed naturally.
The old wooden house was slowly decaying.
Dessert. Dessert is a sweet food that you eat after a meal.
Kayla wants ice cream for dessert.
Dip. To dip something is to put part of it into a liquid for a short time.
Laurel dipped her strawberry into the chocolate.
Distant. If something is distant, it is far away.
Michael could barely see the distant island.
Eclipse. An eclipse is an occasion when the moon moves in front of the sun.
A complete eclipse of the sun is a very rare occurrence.
Fairy. A fairy is a small magic creature with wings.
There are usually fairies in fantasy stories.
Grace. Grace is a quality of moving in a smooth, relaxed, and attractive way.
The ballerina danced with grace.
Leisure. Leisure is time when you do not have to do work.
Eve likes to listen to music in her leisure time.
Mankind. Mankind is all of the world's people.
All of mankind has to work to make this a better world.
Passion. Passion is a very strong feeling of wanting to do something.
She had a passion for dancing.
Pillow. A pillow is something that you put your head on when you sleep.
When I travel, I usually take along my favorite pillow.
Pulse. A pulse is the beat of the heart.
The doctor checked the patient's pulse by feeling his wrist.
Refresh. To refresh someone is to make them feel less hot or tired.
The baby was refreshed after taking a cool bath.
Sneeze. To sneeze is to suddenly blow air out of your nose and mouth.
He sneezed after smelling the flower.
Spice. A spice is a flavor for food and drinks.
Two common spices found in many homes are salt and pepper.
Whistle. To whistle is to make a sound by putting your lips together and blowing.
As he was listening to music, Darryl whistled.
Wool. Wool is the hair that a sheep has.
Grandma wants to use the blue wool to knit me a sweater.
Acquaint. To acquaint is to get to know something or someone.
Nancy acquainted herself with the new computer.
Cemetery. A cemetery is where people are buried when they die.
Some people are scared of cemeteries.
Curse. To curse someone or something is to hope that bad things happen to them.
The witch cursed the village.
Disguise. A disguise is something you wear so people cannot tell who you are.
Everyone knew that it was Dad in the Santa disguise.
Fancy. If something is fancy, it is nicer than normal.
Their table was all set for a fancy dinner.
Flashlight. A flashlight is a small electric light that you carry in your hand.
We took a flashlight when we went camping.
Hood. A hood is part of a coat that goes over your head.
She put on her hood to keep her head warm.
Inhabitant. An inhabitant is a person who lives in a certain place.
The number of inhabitants in the countryside is increasing.
Nourish. To nourish something is to give it food that it needs to live.
A good mother will nourish her baby every day.
Pirate. A pirate is a sailor who steals things from other boats.
Pirates are very scary characters.
Publication. A publication is something printed, like a newspaper or book.
She's been a subscriber to that publication for over 10 years.
Riddle. A riddle is a question that is difficult to answer but meant to be funny.
I could not answer Wendy's riddle, but it made me laugh.
Rot. When something rots, it slowly gets softer and is destroyed.
The old log began to rot in the forest.
Scare. To scare someone is to make them feel afraid.
My uncle was scared by what he saw in the room.
Shortly. If something will happen shortly, it will happen very soon.
My workday will end shortly.
Skeleton. A skeleton is the bones of a body.
There is a skeleton in the science classroom.
Spoil. If something spoils, it turns bad or rots.
We left the fruit out too long and it spoiled.
Starve. If a person starves, they do not get enough to eat and sometimes die.
During the war, many people starved.
Thrill. A thrill is an exciting feeling.
The boys enjoy the thrill of surfing a big wave.
Wicked. If something is wicked, it is very bad or evil.
My boss is a very wicked man.
Alert. To alert someone is to tell or warn them about something.
The fire alarm alerted us that there was a problem.